I said I will retire by 40. So I'm 42 now. And I'm very proud that my husband and I will be able to retire in 7 months.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Clarissa, and I'm on a mission to encourage families to talk money at home.
She has also authored 5 children books that teach money values, and next 5 are coming out soon, so we're very excited for that. Aiming to create a money school for kids and teenagers to turn them into money magicians.
I was sharing stories to my friends, and they're like, oh, we never really talked about money at home. So money was a taboo. In fact, there's a section here wherein I said, why is money taboo? It's very important. All of us use it, if not every day. Then how come we don't have that space to talk about it? So when I became a mom, I realized that before we can even teach our kids how to invest, we need to teach them good money values. I really want to bring down the money concepts, age-appropriate vocabulary that our kids will be able to understand even at a young age.
It's not that we want to, burden children with, let's talk about money, bills, and all these things. It's not that, right? But I think it's the appreciation behind it. Do you see that in your children?
Yes, unless she's 9 now, so she's, more curious than ever. They actually ask me, oh, can I earn money at a young age? So we've actually written there, it's equally a blessing to give and to receive. Because I was taught, growing up, I hear this in schools, like it's better to give than to receive. So I want to change that, reframe it. It's equally a blessing to give and to receive. We also need to know how to make our money work for us. And that's actually the concept of investing.
What is the last value that you have to pass down to your children? Welcome back to part 3. So now we'll be talking about lying and cheating in kids, right? So sometimes when kids are young, you think of it as just an innocent thing, a white lie. But it can be a bit tricky, right? Because if I, let's say, spot my niece, nephew, or my future children cheat, I'll be like, okay, why are you doing this? Don't cheat. And that's about it, right? So how do you teach them values through this?
Okay, so again, in our book 6 to 10, book 7 is actually entitled Bassi Plays a Game. Okay. Because again, between the two of them, being the younger one, sometimes he cheats in a game, but it's really not coming from a bad intent. There's no malice to it. It's really just them still trying to navigate, let's say, the rules of a board game because, it's also tricky for them. So again, as you said, right? So whenever they do something like cheating or lying, you're like, because of mindful parenting, I don't really say, why did you cheat? Or you cheater, you know? It's like labeling the act already.
Yeah.
It's always asking, what happened and why did you do that? Okay, how are you feeling? So those are like my top 3 go-to questions. Okay, what happened? So it's asking what happened from their perspective because what I saw was lying. But then what really happened from your perspective
might be different.
Yes, so I want to hear from them. Then second, why did you do that? Because again, it's really just digging deeper into their motivations. And then third is, how are you feeling? And then honestly, sometimes, again, it's very innocent for them. And then we put the color to it. Then we're the ones saying, oh, that's bad, But then for them, it's really, because in the story, because Alessi earned money, then he also wanted to earn money. So for him, it was as simple as grabbing another $10 from, let's say, the pile of play money.
Yeah.
And when he did that, I was actually reminded that before that, we had another board game incident wherein I said, oh no, I don't have money anymore because I lost all my cash, my play cash in the game. And you know what? Innocently, Basti, from his stack of cash, he gave me. So because I was reminded that, to be honest, he shouldn't also give me, right? Because the rules of the game is, that's your money, therefore you win by, having, the most money. But then again, because I was reminded of that good intent, I knew that he wasn't doing it to lie or to cheat. It was really just coming from, beautiful innocence. So in that game, he was just being himself And again, he's just being generous, right? To himself also.
Yeah.
So he was generous to me, and then he was being generous to himself. And that was it. That's it. So there was no need to label it as cheating,
Yeah.
right? And in the book, Basti Plays a Game, we start teaching honesty and integrity in terms of money. So it's as simple as, returning extra change, extra coins when you receive more than what you're supposed to have. And there's a beautiful poster within the book wherein it feels great when it's meant for you. And it's actually Basti with his strawberry cake because he loves strawberries. So everything's strawberry for him. So it's a poster of him really deserving that strawberry cake. And the story revolves around that.
I love how you beautifully put it that it is innocence, right? And it's the idea of how we define the rules of society, of the game, right? Of the world they're living in, of their environment, and how they can play by the rules.
Yes.
Right. So is there any rule setting that you do with your children at home?
We do have a lot of rules, but we create it with them.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because I believe that if you create something with someone, all the higher probability that they will actually adhere to it.
Yeah.
Because you created it together. We also don't call it rules because rules sort of have a negative connotation, like you're shackled or you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You want. So we call them agreements.
Agreements.
Yes. So we're like, okay, so we have an agreement that after we go biking, you're going to take a shower. So it's as simple as that. So it's not a rule. It's an agreement. Do you agree? Yes. Okay. And then sometimes, again, very common, they would ask for a treat before having dinner.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have an agreement. You can have that candy, but you promise me that you will still eat dinner and you will finish it. And then it becomes an agreement.
So what happens if they, break the agreement and they start whining about it?
Okay.
And they start throwing tantrums, that's the worst.
Right. So again, I catch myself not to, sometimes I'm also very tired.
Yeah.
But instead of, again, they're already angry. I cannot be angry. So I'm very mindful of that. So again, okay, you broke this agreement. What do you think will happen in the future? Do you think when you ask me again if you want to eat candy before dinner, what do you think I would say? So a lot of really asking questions and really drawing it out from them so they also understand how I'm feeling because you broke an agreement.
Yeah.
And then usually they would apologize. They're like, sorry, mom, can you give me another chance or can you forgive me? And I said, okay, but then what's going to happen if you break this agreement again.
I see.
Yes.
Oh, that's a very good way of easing it out.
Yes.
So that you won't feel angry yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why are you not doing this? Can you finish your meal? Right? Then you get very flustered.
Yes.
Yeah. But if you ask them a question back and they have that sort of reflection and realization that, oh, yeah, we had that agreement before. Yeah. Right? Then they will do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love that. Flow parenting, I call it.
I call it gentle parenting.
Gentle parenting. Yeah,
which I read. Again, I read a lot of parenting books.
Yeah.
I love books.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from reading books. Yeah. So gentle parenting is, some authors advocate for that.
Yeah. I love how the values that you teach, right? It's very applicable to life in general, but yet the practicality of it is applying on money and money understanding. Yeah. So I love that. Let's talk about frugality. Right? Because in this world today, we are bombarded by temptations. Brands are getting more creative, they are giving us a lot more aspirations and a lot more, I want this, I desire this kind of feelings for certain products and maybe even services, right? So what do you say to a kid when they're like, hey, mommy, I have an iPad. My friend has an iPad. Can I have one too? Right? What do you say to your kids?
Yeah, so it's so funny because actually in the first book, Renee's Ginormous Bag, when we were talking about needs and wants, I actually captured a line there that Alessi told me when she was 5. So she was still in kindergarten. Then she came home. She's like, Mom, can you buy me a digital watch? And I'm like, what? Like I got my digital watch like, I don't know, 4 years ago only. But then as you said, it's all the kids now they can have access to everything pretty much. So I said, okay, wait, why? Again, it's like not a hard no. I'm not getting you that. You're too young, and then you're too young. You're just going to lose it. You don't know responsibility. I'm not going to get into like that fest. It's more like, okay, why do you want it? Or, again, coming from the space of innocence, right? And she's like, oh, because, most of my classmates have them. So actually, that particular dialogue, we captured that in Renee's ginormous bag.
Yeah.
But then our 8th book is also talking about the value of frugality and simplicity. So it's entitled Matina and the Too Much House.
Too Much House.
Yes.
Oh.
So it's obviously you can get a visual of a house with too many things. So the story revolves around that. So when my kids, again, ask me for that, again, I just threw them questions. And then, okay, so maybe when you're older, you can get that. Or maybe we'll make a plan. So all the books actually tie together.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so maybe we can start you with just an analog watch. So we got them Flick Flack, and then it was a lesson to teach them how to read time also.
Yeah.
But then again, it's really just unpacking it for them because they will just voice out what they want. And I actually like it that they're very expressive and they tell us what they want, right?
Yeah.
And we're so mindful not to shut them down because, when they become teenagers, they're going to stop sharing with us what they want, or expressing themselves because these are really just innocent expressions of them being kids.
Yeah.
So we're very careful and mindful on how we respond to them.
So what happens if she says, oh, can I have an iPad? My friends have it. Why don't I have it? What do you exactly say to them?
Okay, so again, I ask, okay, so why do you want an iPad? Oh, so I can play games. And then I always have a ready answer. Okay, you can borrow my computer and you can play games for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I want to message my friends. And then I'm like, okay, you can use my phone and maybe, message their moms because I know them, their dads. And then you pass through the message to them. So I always have an alternate solution. So it's not an excuse, but really, why do you need it? Because sometimes...
To challenge their thinking.
Yes.
And to really ask themselves why they need it.
Yes. And sometimes there's actually an alternative that already exists. Therefore, we don't even need to spend money. Yeah. So in Matina and the Too Much House, there's a Saffi Says again that I'm hoping, we can use in to share with other families. So we use this at home. We say, let's live fuller with fewer. Meaning, you don't need that iPad or you don't need that digital watch now. Okay, because we already have something at home that serves the same purpose. So I really like that.
I love it. Fuller with fewer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's applicable for adults too, if you think about it. Because honestly, I want to teach it, but I'm also so guilty. Like, my house, I need to keep decluttering
Declutter, yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. So because we are talking about money today, right? Do you think it's too young to teach kids about stocks, investments? Because you learned it when you were 12.
Yes.
Right. What is your perspective when it comes to this?
I think you can teach the concept of it before they learn multiplication, division, percentages. I'm actually waiting for Alessi to learn percentages.
Yeah.
Because I think when we start learning percentages, then we can now teach them the magic of compound interest. Yes. And we teach them that actually in book 9. So Rafael Makes Donuts. Because so Rafael Makes Donuts is a book that teaches us the value of working hard and working smart. So I always say, and I printed them again, I published them in the books. I work for money 8 hours a day. That's me working hard.
Yeah.
But my money works for me 24 hours a day. That's me working smart. So I want to teach the kids or adults again, not just to keep working hard because I think people work hard too much.
Yeah.
We all work hard. Like, we work from 9 to 6 or even later We work for 5 days a week or even, again, longer. But then we also need to know how to make our money work for us. And that's actually the concept of investing.
So how do you teach that to children?
Okay, so Bassi loves his juice vending machine. Like he just wants these fresh
$2
orange
juice. Okay.
Yes. So actually, again, teachable moment. We'll keep coming back to that. I said, okay, so do you think there's a person inside, this orange juice business serving you money?
That's a very good question.
Right? And he's like, Mom, like really annoyed, like, Mom, the answer to that. I said, okay, so the owner of this vending machine and all the other vending machines they see in Time Zone when they go, or, all of these in the malls.
Yeah.
The owners are actually working smart. Because instead of them opening one orange juice stand and, doing everything themselves, what did they do? They actually found a way to come up with hundreds or even thousands of multiplying themselves and working smart. And, you can also tie that back to passive income.
Yeah.
So I said, I didn't expound on what passive income is, but I said, you know what? That's called passive income. Because he may be sleeping right now. Or sometimes we get juice like late in the night, right? Like maybe it's 10 p.m. Okay, it's 10 p.m. He's probably sleeping, but he's earning money. So again, you don't need to come up with a money lesson plan to teach your kids, right? Yeah. Go to the mall. Like honestly, everything there, you can
teach about it.
Yeah, you can pull a money lesson from it after you've read all our books.
To get the inspiration, right? Because
yes,
I think it's about that trigger point.
Yeah.
How you have a lot of stories with you with teachable moments and how you have that concept and idea that you have read through the books.
Yes.
And now you have it with you. Everywhere you can go, you can actually apply some money lessons.
Yes.
Yeah, and vending machines are literally one source of passive income, right?
Yes.
It's a business as well.
Right.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. And in the books also, we have big people prompts. So again, it's not just a story about the kids and their money adventure, but
why big people?
Oh, right.
Why not adults?
Okay, so we have a letter for big people. And why big people? Because again, Monique, my business partner, so she's very inclusive.
Yeah.
So again, because her advocacy is early childhood education at home, she's also very mindful that, our kids live not just with parents. Sometimes we have our aunts or uncles, then we have our grandparents.
Yeah.
And then outside, again, it takes a village to raise kids, right?
Yes.
So even your friends, they are big people that influence our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in school, obviously, we have our teachers. So she's like, okay, it's not just going to be dear parents. It's actually dear
big people.
Yeah. And all throughout
So
the
cute.
books, we have BPPs or big people prompts. So again, we'll equip you and we'll give you tips on how to dig deeper, because this is just really one story. But then what are those teachable moments? So we kind of feed them to you.
I love it.
So the parents or the big people can also learn from them. And then at the very back, so at the end of the books, we also have like family activities, like 3 activities per book that they
very
can do.
practical. I love it.
Yes, so it's actually a parenting book in a way, because some of our friends are like, oh, you're done writing children's books. Why don't you write parenting books for all of these money values?
Yeah.
And we said, that's our dream. We'll get there. But for now, we have snippets through the big people prompts for big people to find those teachable moments.
Very useful.
Yes.
Anyway, I got the whole series of it. So if you want them yourself, right, click on the link below and you can get it. To support her advocacy as well. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the last book.
Yes.
Right. What is the last value that you have to pass down to your children?
Okay, so the last value, and I'm still working on this myself. Okay, so in book 10, it's entitled Renee and a Dog Named Ruby. Okay, so it's about the value of asking and receiving. So it's knowing your worth, asking for what you truly deserve, and being ready to receive. And sometimes I also struggle with that because I think honestly, with this advocacy, like, how much do I really want this message out there? And then really, will people pay for it? Will they believe me? So sometimes I also have to remind myself.
Self-doubt. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Imposter
syndrome.
I have a very bad habit.
Okay.
When people clap for me, I like to clap as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you are truly someone with the posture of receiving, you should not clap. You should like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a nugget.
It's a nugget. I'm very mindful because, as Asians, when people clap for you, like, thank you. Then you go like, yeah. You have that posture where you kind of like, you're saying thank you, but at the same time, the way that your body is reacting is not receiving.
Yes.
Yeah. And it kind of, because as Asians, we're very humble, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
to a fault.
Yeah, to a fault. Oftentimes. Right. So sometimes it's very hard for us to understand the value of receiving as well. Right. And it's a blessing for people to give. Right. So if you are not able to receive, how do they, express their blessing to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's very, very important to have.
Yeah.
Right. And a very important value as well.
Yeah. Your story reminds me of, how when you give some people compliments and they're like, no, it's not me. You're so pretty today.
Yeah.
No. I'm actually so tired. I slept so late. You even negate it.
Yes, you negate it and you self-doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw this very interesting TikTok video of how they talk about Japan culture. So there's this very funny instance where someone's walking in the street and gave a compliment, and then they show how Japanese react versus how Westerners react.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're like, oh yes, thank you. It was like that. That's kind of funny. Yeah, so it's really the Asian culture of the art of receiving.
Yes, and actually, what your last point was, I also wrote that in the book, Ruby and a dog named Renee and the dog named Ruby. So you can get an idea of the story. It's Renee asking for a dog.
Okay.
So we've actually written there, it's equally a blessing to give and to receive.
Oh.
Because I was taught, growing up, I hear this in schools, like it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
So I want to change that, reframe it.
Yeah.
It's equally a blessing to give and to receive.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully when I learn it, then I can pass it on to my kids as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us the 10 books. It was really insightful. I learned so many things myself as well as an adult. I'm definitely getting it, right, for my friends and family. So if you want to support her business, right, click on the link below to purchase it. Could you share more about your business right now, right? Maybe share with the audience what are some challenges that you're facing with your business and how can we support you?
Yes, so I'm very grateful that I met you, that I saw you, because again, I have a full-time job. Okay, so I know I'm retiring, so we're setting that up. So it's happening in 6 months, and my boss can watch this because she knows I'm retiring. She knows I'm leaving in 6 months. But this has always been an advocacy, right? So financial literacy, and there's a concept when it's an advocacy, you cannot really monetize it. Again, I'm working on asking and receiving.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm the only one, I think, deep into the products. I'm the only one believing in my message. So it's actually a validation, this interview, that you're saying that, yes, a lot of families will benefit and I'd be able to help because that's really what I want. And again, that's what I teach my kids, giving and sharing. So I really want to reach to the right people who would, probably need to hear this message. And I need partners like you to broadcast, to help me broadcast that, the money values is actually the foundation of the money behavior and the money habits that we have as adults, and also what our kids will grow into when they become adults.
Amazing. So to summarize, get the books, tag Saffi Squirrel. What is your handles?
Yes, so saffisquirrel.com. And again, beyond the books, I also started teaching money adulting. For big people.
Yeah.
Because when I was conceptualizing Saffi Squirrel, again, I was thinking, okay, it's one thing that we equip our children the money values, the money concepts, the money mathematician. But then what if they still see, their parents or the big people at home, still shopping, like online deliveries come every day. Like, where's the frugality and simplicity there? Where's delayed gratification? So I also came up with a coaching program. So it's called Money Adulting. So everything I learned in the 20 years of me trying to build my passive income and really just learning the ropes, attending all my seminars, my investment classes, and reading a lot of personal finance books, I actually condensed it in a 6-week program with me, wherein I will personally coach you. So that one, it's in moneyclaritycoaching.com. So those are the 2 sites that I have.
And I think it's so important, right? Especially for families that are living together, multi-generational.
Yes.
Right? The alignment and the understanding of what kind of values you want to inculcate in children. And being congruent is so important.
Yes.
You just can't imagine if you teach your kid frugality and simplicity and then your grandma starts to buy a lot of like stuff for the kids, right? How is that congruent? How would they make sense of it, right? So what do you have to say about multi-generational teaching of values to children? Or what do you do with your mom?
Yeah, I think, my best parenting advice really is we have to set a good example. Like ultimately, the saying, the kids don't listen to us.
Yeah.
They copy us.
Yes.
Right? So again, being multi-generational, especially we're in Asia, it's important also that we talk about it as a family. So not just to your kids, but also to your parents. So, and I think, again, I'm very blessed because I grew up in a home wherein money was talked about. So there was no fear, there's no hesitation of sharing our views about money. And until now, I tell my mom my money mistakes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I made this investment and I lost money, because she made it such a safe space. So she and my dad did a good job in making the home a safe space to actually talk about money, whether those are successes or whether those are failures. So it's very important that we align, everyone in the family. And again, that's why the books are here, because we want this to be a message. And because I've written these books, it's amazing how my friends start talking about money with me as well, and with their kids. And then when we get together, we also talk about, they were in the toy store last week, and then they were like, she wanted this big doll. And then she ended up buying a smaller version of it.
Right.
Because now she knows the value between, a $5 small doll and the $50 doll. And, our get-togethers just become a safe space to talk about money.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. Right, so if you want to support, we'll put all the links below as well. So do check it out. Right, so there's 2 parts to her business. One is, of course, the children books, right, and how you can use this as resources to teach your kids or give it to your friends and families who have children.
Yes.
And what are the age groups that's age appropriate for these books?
Yeah, so when we wrote them, our kids were aged 4 to 10.
4 to 10.
Yes. Okay. But then if you look at them, so each page really is, full of colorful drawings. And again, one thing that I learned from Monique is you can actually use a book as a tool in different ways. So the most obvious reason is you read through the story.
Yeah.
So, the kid will learn the story. But even when your kids are young, like 1, 2, or 3, and they're not yet reading yet, you yourself just use it, oh, look at this. So you don't read the dialogue, or you don't read the script. So you say, oh, look at this. Bassi and Rafael are in the yard. What do you think are they doing? Oh, wait, there's a little fellow here. Who is that? Oh, it's Saffi Squirrel. I think, Saffi Squirrel appeared because there's a teachable moment. So Saffi Squirrel always appears in the story when there's actually a teachable moment that the kids need to learn. So our vision for Saffi Squirrel when we were conceptualizing it was a bit of Mary Poppins and Mr. Rogers.
I see.
And then we were looking for an animal, because Monique said if we want to teach kids something, you use animals and plants because they sort of, learn easily and they can visualize, right? Like there's a picture to it. So we're like, okay. And then Monique told me that gray squirrels, apparently they know how to invest.
Oh.
So what they do, and we've put that here again in Matina Dreams Big.
The
so,
real life gray squirrels
yes,
know how to
yes,
invest. Oh,
yes.
interesting.
So apparently what they do
Yeah.
is they bury their acorns not just in one place, but in different parts of the land.
Ah.
So during
smart.
winter, during hibernation, they actually dig, they go back to their investments and then they dig into the acorns
Yeah.
to feed them. And then some acorns, they actually forget about them.
Oh.
So they grow into trees.
Wow.
Yes.
see.
So that's where, okay, let's do squirrel for our visual. But then let's do squirrel for our character. But then obviously we don't want a gray squirrel because she also said, color is important in education. So we made her tail very colorful. And then then Saffi is actually a Greek word or a Greek name that's about wisdom.
Oh.
Yeah, so Saffi,
so beautiful.
Yeah, so Saffi is a Greek word equivalent to wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yes.
Right.
So
the
that's Saffi Squirrel.
that invests, that's full of wisdom. Saffi Squirrel.
Yes.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for coming.